I've spent a lot of time lately looking at my life and feeling like a character in a game that has a permanent debuff. You know that feeling? In a game like Elden Ring, you can't get hit with a status effect like Scarlet Rot or Poison, and even if you win the fight, your health bar is just keeps ticking down, slowly draining your life while you try to move to the next area, right? That is exactly how guilt and shame feel to me. For years, I've struggled with my diet, my weight, and every time I fail, it isn't like just a mistake, it's a weight. I look in the mirror and I feel this heavy, crushing sense, right? Of, here I go again. I just keep going back to the same state. Maybe you relate to that. Maybe for you it isn't food. Maybe it's failure in your marriage, a habit you can't kick, or just a general feeling that you aren't the man that you're supposed to be. Now, there is a massive difference between guilt and shame that I'm just starting to understand now. Guilt is like your conscience telling you that you did something bad. And shame is a lie that tells you that you are something bad, right? Guilt is like a notification that, hey, you need to repair your gear. Shame is like behaving or believing that your character is fundamentally glitched and not even worth playing anymore. Okay, now, I used to think that the more I hated myself for my failures, the more likely I was to change. I thought that shame was a motivator. I tell myself things like how pathetic it was, that I couldn't stay consistent at the gym, thinking that, if I just insulted myself enough, I finally get it right. But that's a broken mechanic, right? Shame doesn't lead to change, it leads to hiding. When we feel ashamed, we stop checking in with God, we stop being honest with our brothers, and we retreat into the dark where the cycle just gets stronger. Now, the Bible offers a completely different patch for this. In Romans 8, verse 1, it says, "There is therefore no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ." Let's read that again. "There is therefore now no condemnation for those who are in Jesus Christ." It doesn't say no condemnation for those who have a perfect diet, or no condemnation for the guys who never struggle. It says none for those in Christ. Now, I realized that my shame was actually a form of pride. It was, I was basically saying that my failure was bigger than God's grace. I was acting like my sin was a boss fight that Jesus wasn't high enough level to handle, right? Like, how crazy is that? And the how of breaking the cycle starts with a realization that I've recently had. God isn't surprised by your struggle. He didn't pick you because he thought you were perfect. He picked you knowing exactly how many times you trip over the same hurdle. In a game, if you die to a boss, the game doesn't hate you, right? It just resets the encounter. But in real life, we let the enemy of our souls convince us that we've lost our save file entirely. We have to learn to distinguish the conviction of the Spirit from the condemnation of the enemy. One leads you to the cross, and the other leads you to the couch, to give up. Now, the big picture here is that a man trapped in shame is a man who is out of the fight. If you're constantly looking backward at your past failures, you can't see the mission in front of you. It's like trying to play a first-person shooter while only looking at the kill cam, right? You're going to get hit again because you aren't present. Breaking the cycle of shame is about realizing that Your identity is tied to your creator, not to your consistency. Now, I know what it feels like to feel like a fraud. I know what it's like to stand in the gym or sit in church and feel like everyone can see your failures written on your face. But I'm learning to replace that internal lag with the truth of the word. In 2 Corinthians 5 verse 17 it says, "Therefore, if anyone is in Christ, he is a new creation. The old has passed away. Behold, the new has come." Notice that it doesn't say the old will pass away once you lose 20 pounds, right? Or once you have a 6-month streak of perfect habits. It's your current reality. You are a new character. You have to start playing like a new character. Now, I'm still figuring this out. I still have mornings where that voice of shame is the first thing I hear when I wake up. But now, instead of agreeing with it, I'm trying to learn to see it as a debuff that I have the cure for, right? I'm learning to take my failures to God immediately instead of waiting until I feel worthy again. Because if we wait until we feel worthy to talk to God, we're just never going to talk to Him because we're never worthy. Now, if you're stuck in that loop of guilt and shame, I want you to know that the game over screen is a lie. Your stamina bar might be low, and you might feel like you've wasted a lot of XP on the wrong things. But the creator of the game is also the one who offers unlimited restarts. He's not looking at your mistakes with a clipboard. He's looking at you with a hand reached out, ready to help you back into the fight. Now, your quest for this week is to just be brutally honest about one area where you feel shame. Bring it to the light. Tell God about it, even if He already knows, and maybe tell one other brother that you trust. Watch how fast that shame bar drops when you stop hiding it, right? Now we're building a community of men who are done with hiding. We're moving from condemnation to conviction and from shame to strength. I'm right here with you guys trying to figure it out, how to live as a new creation while still dealing with the old man, and it's really a grind, but it's the only one that's worth doing. Now, don't let the shame keep you from the journey. And if you guys made it this far, remember to like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.